Next, let's meet Dr. Raya Khanin. She's going to be speaking on bioinformatics in the beauty industry. Dr. Khanin has an Ph.D. in Computational Biology from the Weizmann Institute of Science in Israel. She was the Royal Society Dorothy Hodgkin's Fellow at Cambridge University with over 20 years of experience in computational cancer genomics. Now, inspired by the paradigm shift in the one-size-fits-all to precision medicine, Raya envisions similar changes in wellness and beauty. So she co-founded LifeNome, an award-winning company that leverages biological, physiological, and behavioral data to personalize wellness interventions in the preventive health, nutrition, and personal care beauty industries. Raya is both a researcher, academician, as well as entrepreneur. Raya, we can't wait to hear how this type of data, the technologies, and all that are being used to bring about new treatments. But we also hope to hear in other domains as well as beauty. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Do you hear me okay? Perfect.
Yes, we can hear you fine, and your presentation can be seen well. Thank you.
Perfect. So many thanks for the introduction, and thanks to the organizers for inviting me. So this is going to be a very subjective overview on the increasingly important role that bioinformatics plays in the beauty industry. My name is Raya Khanin, and I'm a scientific co-founder of LifeNome, a genomics AI wellness company. So some of you may be asking what bioinformatics has to do with beauty. Actually, a lot. So when I started preparing for this talk, I quickly realized that applications of bioinformatics in the beauty industry have grown tremendously in the last couple of years. So I will highlight the most prominent trends and that have been driven by bioinformatics. I will give some examples of big companies and startups in this area. And also we'll talk a little bit about the challenges that bioinformatics faces in the beauty industry. So to put things into perspective, the beauty industry is actually huge. It is strong, it's getting only stronger, and it's predicted to exceed $780 billion in about 5 years. So what is beauty industry? It actually covers a wide variety of personal care products: skincare, hair care, cosmetics, fragrances, beauty tech, services, various related functions. So these figures do not include dermatology, but our conversation is relevant to dermatology as well. Okay, so let's talk about skin. As a computational biologist, I view skin, our largest organ, as a complex system of interacting biological components and the exposome. So the exposome is everything our skin interacts with. That's water, environment, temperature, pollutants, toxins, and also all the products that we put on our skin, from basic soap to very sophisticated skincare. And obviously, skin is a reflection of all the physiological processes that are going on inside our bodies. So skin is also our immune organ as well. So out of 20,000 proteins, human proteins, 70% are actually expressed in skin. And about 500 proteins have elevated expression in skin compared to other tissues. And these proteins are regulatory and signaling, they're receptors and enzymes. So understanding their roles in skin homeostasis and skin aging is extremely important. Furthermore, there are various non-coding RNAs, from small RNAs like microRNAs to long non-coding RNAs that contribute to skin aging and skin disorders. And actually, we still don't know much about their functions. Then, of course, there is our second skin. Then, of course, I don't know, there is message to me or to Jenna. Okay. So then, of course, there is our second skin, the microbiome. So these are all the millions of microbes that live on our skin. And they too change with aging, with environment, and various phenotypes. For example, dry skin, as I will show a couple of examples, acne, and so on. So for a while, studies on the skin microbiome have lagged behind research on gut microbiome. But actually, the beauty industry and the whole research on skin is quickly catching up. So obviously, you know, all these considerations are as important for hair as they are for skin. And as you can imagine, lots of research is going into understanding hair health and hair graying and hair baldness. So what if we could predict and reverse, for example, hair loss? But I will mainly talk about skin here. Okay, so in other words, there is a complex interplay between human proteins, human RNAs, and microbiomes, and also different fungi and viruses that live on our skin. At the same time, microbiomes produce and release different metabolites and peptides, and all this complex network of interactions protect the skin from the environment and interacts with the exposome and skincare ingredient. I call it systems biology of beauty. So you see here the Unilever logo. And this figure was actually taken from a special skin microbiome issue from Nature journal, sponsored by Unilever. In fact, all major personal care companies from Unilever, Procter & Gamble, L'Oreal heavily invest in bioinformatics and genomics sciences. They all actively work on generating proprietary genomics datasets, sophisticated data analysis methods, and they develop computational models and pipelines. But this has not always been the case. A few years back, that's another article from Nature journal called Molecular Beauty. They cite a prominent dermatologist from a leading hospital in Boston who says that until actually a couple of decades ago, the beauty industry was almost allergic to science. The common perception was that consumers were scared of and uninterested in science. So companies didn't want this word to be associated with their products. But that aversion started to melt with the advent of genomics, which not only transformed research, but also captured the public imagination. And in this paper, they cite a scientist from the brand Olay at consumer goods company Procter & Gamble, who says that over the years, we've converged on an understanding that we should be doing really deep biology on the skin aging process and on products that can be used to improve skin health. It's just like any other biological endpoint that a pharmaceutical company would go after. So just like in pharma, bioinformatics and machine learning are expected to make the search for new ingredients, new formulas quicker, cheaper, and more effective. So perhaps initially the beauty industry was merely following what pharma was doing, but just because of the nature of its business and willingness of consumers to actually contribute their data, so-called citizen science, the beauty industry, with the help of bioinformatics and machine learning, can actually move faster, make more discoveries, in particular in anti-aging and longevity science. I will give an example of such a company in a few minutes. So I will now highlights a couple of major trends in the beauty industry that have been driven by bioinformatics. So firstly, an unstoppable trend is synthetic beauty, sustainability, and ingredient transparency. So biotechnologies are increasingly impacting the production of beauty ingredients, from algae to marine-based components. Companies produce some ingredients in the lab, and these ingredients can be some commonly used collagens, squalene, and palm oil, to some rare ingredients, such as, for example, unique scents of roses without actually relying on expensive rose petals. That's ginkgo biome. Perhaps the most fascinating example of a new generation of beauty company is Archaea, which recently received funding of $78 million from Chanel, Givaudan, and VCs. And the goal of the company is to create sustainable, previously inaccessible ingredients for beauty industry through what they call expressive biology. So this is a screenshot from their website, where they call biology the most sophisticated technology on the planet. It has unparalleled precision and scale that modern means have never been able to replicate. At Archaea, they combine technology from the past and present, bridging biology with DNA sequencing, bioinformatics, fermentation, and storytelling to create new product experiences for beauty. Another huge trend is beauty further integrating with the whole wellness economy. Pandemic obviously accelerated this trend, the whole trend of self-care, focusing on one's health, wellness, with an added spotlight on immunity. And there is an overlap here with nutrigenomics, personalized nutrition, and also special emphasis on sleep and mental health. Additionally, there is increasing interest and research on longevity. So people are planning to live longer and they want to look younger. And in this respect, skin aging is obviously the most recognizable and often the most kind of psychologically difficult aspect of aging. At the same time, skin aging is potentially also one of the most amenable for intervention, prevention, and rejuvenation. So skin actually can be regarded as an ideal model for studying tissue aging. And I'm going to talk about a specific example here, a company called OneSkin, which I find absolutely fascinating. So what they did initially, they analyzed publicly available data. Actually, that's methylation data. And here's all the data sets that they've analyzed. And they developed highly accurate skin-specific methylome biological clock for skin. So they showed, they validated it. They showed on an independent cohort its accuracy. What they did next was they used this method as a screening platform for different compounds. They screened hundreds of peptides and they found one, they call it peptide 14, that effectively decreased chronological aging, UVB radiation, by modulating longevity and senescence pathways. So basically they showed that this specific peptide promoted skin health, reduced senescent cell markers, as well as the biological age of samples. They showed next that this specific peptide actually outperformed the current golden standard in the anti-aging skincare, the retinol treatment. So, and then this scientist, 4 female PhDs from Brazil originally. They raised funds and they started a company called OneSkin. And you can actually now buy their products, which they call skin supplements. The product is unisex and it's for skin and body, and I highly recommend it. It's very good. Okay, so the next trend in beauty is, and in medicine as well, is personalization. Obviously, it's not a new concept, but it's getting more sophisticated. It started with quizzes, it's moved to selfies, various skin and hair scanning devices, and now it is powered by biology. So biology is the ultimate frontier of personalization, and genetics and microbiome are driving this trend. So here I would like to highlight two studies. The first one is relatively old, 2009, and it looked at many hundreds of twins and identified that about 60% of skin aging is actually determined by our genetics, while 40% is determined by the environment. Another study followed 1,000 people for over 10 years and found that actually some people age much faster than the others. And this is visible in their physical characteristics as well as in their skin features. So the authors of this study built an AI predictor using genetics and other biomarkers, and they quantified aging in younger people, thus allowing for intervention and prevention. So there are numerous genome-wide association studies on genetics of skin health, skin aging. There are SNPs identified to be connected to different skin features, such as early wrinkles or photoaging. So this information can be used to predict not immediately observable skin aging. And several companies, including LifeNome, the company that I co-founded, offer beauty-focused DNA testing kits, informing consumers on their genomic skin traits, curate ingredients and products, and develop personalized products and services. So DNA tests are becoming a commodity, right? I'm talking about genotyping tests. And in the US, you can buy them in your local CVS store. Probably over 30 million people have taken at-home ancestry tests. And as you all know, each chip contains about 600,000 SNPs. With imputation, that's a few million. So it's a lot of information that can be used by beauty companies to look into skin health and skin aging. So lots of very interesting discoveries can be made here. So at LifeNome, we are developing a beauty personalized platform that uses genomics AI. Well, we use machine learning. You probably heard the joke that if it's written in Python, it's probably machine learning. If it's written in PowerPoint, it's AI. So actually, when you work with beauty companies, everything is AI. So jokes aside, we built a huge knowledge base that integrates data from thousands of studies, including gene expression studies. And what our platform does, it utilizes consumer DNA with the survey and informs consumers about their potential risks and offers ingredient recommendation product recommendation. We also collect feedback and obviously build new insights. We identify new genetic-based features, for example, sensitivities to specific ingredients such as retinol. I will now switch gears and talk about microbiome. So this is probably the biggest trend in beauty, the hottest trend. So cosmetic formulators are developing their own microbiome franchises. They design health-enhancing skincare products that contain bacteria, bacteria extracts, or ingredients that are meant to enhance skin microbe activity. And then Instagram and beauty magazines are educating their readers what are prebiotics, postbiotics, and probiotics. And as I mentioned before, all major personal care companies have been working in this area, and also a number of very innovative startups and indie brands have launched products that use microbiome. So this is from a company, from a Dutch company, DSM, and they developed an ingredient that they called Epibiome Beauty. This specific ingredient relieving skin dryness, and they showcase a clinical study where participants use this ingredient, and kind of the bad bacteria was decreasing with usage of this ingredient, while the good bacteria was increasing. Interestingly, tech companies are also partnering with beauty companies and attempting to solve similar problems. This is an example of IBM partnering with Unilever, and again, an article from Nature Journal. And they also study a similar problem. They study an issue of skin hydration. Here they use explainable AI, and they identify a signature of microbes that is associated with skin dryness. So that's, I think, is very interesting partnerships between tech companies and beauty. And as I mentioned, there is a number of very innovative startups in this field, S-Biomedic, Symbiome, Dermala. Each of these companies claims to harness the power of microbiome and address skin conditions like acne, rosacea, and different features related to skin aging. Other companies like Skin Trust, Sequential Skin, Dr. Elsa Jungmann offer skin microbiome tests. It's a big business, and at the same time, it's data collection, it's citizen science, and it enables future discoveries. So needless to say that behind all this brand messaging and marketing, all this work is enabled by bioinformatics. And in fact, some of these companies have bioinformaticians among their founders. So that's another example of a company, Givaudan. And in addition to doing taxonomic analysis, excuse me, they actually explore which jobs the microbiota can do. So they do functional microbiome analysis. Okay, so bioinformatics powers microbiome trends in beauty. So all these companies require development, improvement, and maintenance of robust bioinformatics pipelines for efficient and fast processing of large-scale metagenomics data. So they needed to detect known species, identify new species, and so on. And bioinformaticians would appreciate that it requires infrastructure for storage, further usage, and so on. So, and all the tools that bioinformatics has developed are also required here, from machine learning, supervised, unsupervised analysis, pathways, analysis, and so on. And for those interested in challenges, there are plenty. Discovering functions of species, new microbial pathways, metabolites, and so on. So I see that the notion here that my time is almost coming up, so I'll skip a couple of things here and say that there are lots of pros working as bioinformatician in the beauty industry. It's easy to collect data, it's fast turnaround, it's still a new area of application. There are many challenging problems to be solved and lots of opportunities. At the same time, there are many proprietary data sets, lots of secrecy, fast turnaround. You can see your failures fast too. And even if you have great science, you also need to learn some storytelling, branding, and marketing. So you need to learn some beauty lingo. And I'll skip here, and happy to answer your questions. And please connect with me, discuss with me if you have any interest in bioinformatics in beauty. Many thanks for your attention.
Thank you. That was really interesting. The personalization, it's going to be interesting to see where that goes in the next couple of years. If you want to pull your PowerPoint down, I do have a couple questions for you.
Sure.
Why do you think metagenomics specifically is so important for the beauty and wellness research? And then how can it be integrated with other types of omics data?
Why is it important? Oh, sorry, yes, stop share. Yeah.
There you go.
I mean, it's there are several. I mean, in terms of beauty, it's easy to measure. Somehow, people actually willing to share their skin microbiome. They're not as willing to share their DNA, but they are really interested to learn what microbes live on their skin. In terms of challenges, I think the challenges are the same as I think yesterday somebody from Sweden was talking about integrating different layers of multi-omics data. Challenges are the same as in any other area, but I kind of predict that integration in the beauty industry will happen a bit faster, again, because people are willing to learn more about their skin. They want to look healthy, they want to look young. So there is this
younger, yeah, younger. I'll take younger.
Me too. Yes.
Right.
So that's kind of what I think.
Okay. What's the integration look like?
What's the integration looks like? The integration
like
of
for other type of omics, maybe some fields or whatever.
It can be something that, it's not just easy to detect using one type of data. Like, for example, microbiome and genetics, or metabolomics and transcriptomics. But by combining two types of data, you can actually identify the compound score, if you like. So if you take biomarkers from different types of omics data and build it on
I have
that.
a question from the audience. I'm sorry. I have a question from the audience. Are you using ancestry data in the research, for instance, from the GSA?
Ancestry, as in, you mean in terms of ethnic differences in aging? Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There are other fields in the beauty industry where bioinformatics research is actively conducted. Do you have any examples?
Other areas other than those that I mentioned? I mean, all the skin disorders, skin conditions, acne, rosacea, sensitivity, these are all huge areas where, lots of research is going on. Yes.
Okay. Have environmental issues such as global warming, pollution contributed to the growth of the beauty industry? And then if so, how does bioinformatics help in the process? Excellent
question. Yes. So I mentioned, I think, in the first trend was the sustainability concern, and this is why bioinformatics and synthetic biology, they're working on developing new sustainable ingredients, obviously. And this is going to grow. This is, I think, we're just at the kind of beginning of this development. And in terms of pollution and global warming, obviously it does affect our skin. That's for sure. And again, I just today saw an article how the anti-pollution skincare is going to grow in the next couple of years. Yeah,
wow.
Definitely a huge area.
Where do you think this will be the last question, the future of personalized skincare solutions, where do you think that's headed?
I think it's actually heading where, you'll have your little station kind of at home, and, your microbiome and metabolomics of your skin will be measured at certain regular intervals, will be sent to some center, and then you will receive, your personalized products for your skin, depending on seasonality, depending where you are in a big city, in the countryside, etc. So definitely we are heading in that direction. So it will be a few more years before that, but the vector is there. Yes.
Well, very good. Well, thank you again, Dr. Khanin, for your incredible work in this field. Congratulations on the success of your award-winning company. Thank you much for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.